Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and today, I know it's on a late notice, but we are going to be previewing the Colorado Avalanche versus the Dallas Stars second round series matchup. This is in the Central Division bracket of the Western Conference. Of course, we already talked about what's going on in the other bracket in the Pacific. And this is going to be a really good playoff series. I am really interested to see how these teams match up because with how they went during the regular season, is that going to be at all indicative of what we're going to see in the playoffs? Because the playoffs and the regular season are very different, and especially with the results of some of these games, it's going to be interesting to see just how much of that translates over between how good Georgiev and Ottinger played in the first round, having two hot goalies, or we're going to see a lot less scoring. And then, of course, kind of going into, who are the players to watch in this series. Of course, I'm going to give my predictions at the end. So we're going to go over all of that today. So to start off, let's look at this. The 4 games that these two teams played against each other. There's an overall theme in those games, right? So if you're not actually watching, so game 1 they played in November, 6-3 Colorado. The second game of the season they played against each other was just after the new year, a 5-4 win for the Avalanche in overtime. Game 3, right? Yeah, we're going to see less scoring from the Dallas Stars. 5-1 Colorado in February, and then of course the last time they met, which was in April, a 7-4 win for the Dallas Stars. So, in all honesty, how much of this can you really take going into the series? Because I don't think Jake Ottinger is the same Jake Ottinger they saw even in April, the last time they met. Now, if you look at that, right? So, what does that combine? So, it's 6, 11, 16, 20. So, the Avalanche scored 20 goals in their 4-game series with the Dallas Stars. Ouch. That's a lot of goals given up by Dallas. And then for the Stars, yeah, they scored 7, 8 plus 7. Oh, I don't like doing math on video. I think that's 15 if I'm not mistaken. So 15. So the Stars scored 15, Colorado scored 20. Now, we know how the first round went for the Colorado Avalanche, as they scored a lot of goals against the Winnipeg Jets. Now, if you know anything that had to do with the first round, Colorado fans don't get too excited because remember the regular season matchup series against Winnipeg. Winnipeg dominated the Avalanche in the first round, right? And going into the series, you thought, well, Winnipeg has the head-to-head. They have home ice advantage. They have Connor Hellebuck. We're not really sure what Colorado has in between the pipes. Well, that absolutely meant nothing after the first game because the Colorado Avalanche took it to the Winnipeg Jets, and the Jets never really counterpunched after that, and they ultimately won the series in 5 games. This is going to be a different series. I think people look at the lack of goal scoring from Dallas in their series against Vegas, and I don't know if I would give that a criticism. Now, the first 2 games, they were really held off the score sheet. I remember making that video, which thank you to my Stars fans out there. Shout out to you guys again. You guys always come out for the videos. It's really interesting to see how that shifted once they went to Vegas for games 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Totally changed. The Dallas Stars started scoring the clutch goals that they needed and kind of lacked earlier in the series. Now, is that a testament to the Golden Knights defense? You have to give some credit because I would argue the Golden Knights lineup and roster on paper, that defense is a top 5 defense in the National Hockey League. And that's why they won the Stanley Cup last year, and they were in the conversation for winning it again this year. This is no slouch of a team that the Dallas Stars just slayed, right? So, yeah, there wasn't as much scoring for the Dallas Stars and a little bit of a struggle, but is that because the Dallas Stars offense isn't good, or was that just a testament to what they were faced up against in the Vegas Golden Knights defense and goaltending? So, yeah, that's kind of how I look at it going into this series. They did turn it around toward the end. They were scoring depth. They were getting depth scoring from guys like Ty Dellandrea, even in the game winner or the series clinching goal, Radek Faksa, who was hurt most of this series. Those are things for Dallas that are really in their favor going into this series, and I kind of stand with that. Now, for the Colorado Avalanche. Now, the only game I watched in its entirety. I watched a lot more highlights and bits and pieces of the other games, but I don't really want to read much off of what I saw in that full game because that first game was just all over the place. Colorado looked a little bit disheveled. They didn't really look ready for the playoffs. And they still almost won that game despite not playing well defensively. They still scored, 5 or 6 goals? They lost 7-6 or 6-5, whatever that game ended up being. That was really it, though. And I think that they really were able to find their defensive strides against a really good Winnipeg Jets team. But the difference is Winnipeg's offense, I don't think, is prolific as Dallas's. I think there's more depth on the Dallas Stars. And, I mean, the way they cut up Winnipeg's defense is pretty impressive, because that's a very good defense, and Connor Hellebuyck's a pretty damn good goalie, probably in the conversation, probably will be a finalist for the Vezina again. And they made him look like a piece of Swiss cheese. That was incredible work. Some fine art by the Colorado Avalanche's offense, and that's what we expected. The Avalanche have a very good offense. They scored the most goals for per game during the regular season out of anybody in the National Hockey League. I would expect that to be similar in this series, to be honest with you. I think Dallas's defense is good, but there are chinks in the armor. You know, Niels Lundqvist did not look good at points. I don't know if he's going to be playing in this next series or not, but that's something that needs to be maybe evaluated by Pete DeBoer. Hey, listen, he did a great job beating Vegas, but you got to consider that. Jake Ottinger really found his rhythm after Game 2, and it seems like the rest of that series he became the Jake Ottinger in the playoffs that we always know. You know, not too many highs, not too many lows. After winning Game 7, everybody's all excited, and Ottinger, looking like a robot in his press conference, just nonchalant, like, all right, let's move on to the next one. It's really, Jake Ottinger is a very interesting human being, to say the least, but I guess that's how most goalies are, right? So that's the situation there. Got to give credit, though. You know, we're talking about Jake Ottinger. Let's not discredit the other side here, because what happened after Game 1 for Alexander Georgiev? They were ready to drop Georgiev after Game 1, and he came in the rest of that series and just completely changed on a dime and completely fixed that goalie issue, or that goalie drama with the Colorado Avalanche, and just played incredible. So if he does what he did in that series against Winnipeg, this is going to be a very competitive series. And the head-to-head between Ottinger and Georgiev, it's not as clear-cut as you would think, the way he dismantled Hellebuyck in the first-round series. So let's look at the offense, defense, goaltending. Offense, this is unequivocal. This is not even a question for me. As good as Dallas is, the offense for the Avalanche, by and far, is probably the best in the National Hockey League. They score so many goals, 5-on-5, power play, everywhere on the ice. The Avalanche are a threat. They have so many players on that lineup that can score goals. It's not just McKinnon or Rantanen. It's everybody else that can contribute on any given night and put in 2 or 3 goals. That's the concern for you. Once you had guys like Zach Parise, he's scoring goals. It was coming from everywhere. And it's kind of been that way the entire season for the Avalanche. I expect that to continue. Defense is a little bit more tricky, because I love Colorado's defense, but I think in terms of the roster and the system of the defense, I say this in all my videos, and especially defense, because you don't get to the top 8 NHL teams without a good defense. So anybody that's going to, I'm not going to ever sit here at this point and say they have a kind of suspect defense. But I think Dallas's system is better than Colorado's in terms of how they play in front of their goaltender. There were breakdowns in that first series. Yes, it was in Game 1 mostly, but I think the Dallas Stars have a better defense. And what they had to go up against, again, remember what they had to go up against in Vegas. They did a very good job of shutting down the Vegas Golden Knights offense at points during the series. And we know that is difficult to do. So I'm going to give the Dallas Stars the nod in between in the blue line, looking at the defense. Sorry about that, guys. So goaltending, like I said in the beginning of the video, and this is kind of cheap because I've done this in other videos as well. It's kind of my cheap shot way out of it. The goaltending tandems, I would be, how do I put this? I think there's a shorter leash for Georgiev than there is for Ottinger. So if things go wrong for one team, I would expect the backup to go in for Colorado before Dallas, pending injuries or anything like that. I'm not even accounting that. I think the leash is longer for Ottinger. But I think between Ottinger and Georgiev head-to-head, this is going to be the matchup that wins or loses the series. You know, we just saw the last night in Game 1 between, Boston and Florida. Both really good goalies. Jeremy Swayman won Game 1 for the Boston Bruins. That's how this series is going to kind of be. You have two really good, hot goaltenders. Who's just going to outduel the other one? And who's going to give up that critical goal that ultimately sends their team to the loss column? That's going to be the difference. Who gives up, who makes the big save at the right time and then comes back the other way and gives up the big goal? That's what this series is going to come down to. And I think maybe that's a little bit of a cop-out because that seems like every playoff series that's going to be how it goes. But I think especially for this one, because both these teams are very evenly matched. I really like what I've seen from Cale Makar. Incredible defenseman, and he hasn't even really reached his full potential yet. And don't even get me started. Nathan MacKinnon and those guys haven't even gotten to the level that I think they're capable of. Once they get going, good luck. And same thing for Dallas. Miro Heiskanen kind of held off the score sheet a little bit. Jason Robertson played really well. One of the stars of the series for Dallas, pun intended, the star of that series was Wyatt Johnston. Held off the score sheet the first two games, gets a 2-goal game the next night, and then scores 2 more big goals throughout the rest of the series that ultimately led to the Dallas Stars getting to this point. So if I'm the Dallas Stars, I'm really focusing on seeing that production continue from guys like Wyatt Johnston, Jason Robertson, and you're going to need that depth goal from a Ty Dellandrea or a Radek Faksa at some point just to get you over the hump, because Colorado scores goals. They're going to score. And it might be one of those things where Jake Ottinger is really going to get tested here, because if he can, let's say most of that series, right, the first round matchup, Winnipeg was giving up 4 or 5 goals a game. I think for Dallas to realistically win, they have to give up 2 or 3 goals a game, because I just don't see Dallas outscoring the Colorado Avalanche. If this becomes kind of that matchup where it's back and forth scoring and, opportunity this way, opportunity that way, I think Dallas is going to try and slow down the game, play a more systematic game, allow Ottinger to see everything in front of him, which is difficult because Colorado likes to get bodies in front. I think it's going to be really important to clear the front of the net because, like I said, Colorado likes to screen the goaltender, make it difficult. It's going to be interesting for Ottinger, right? How is he going to track the puck? And kind of keep this from being a back and forth, race across the ice, because the Dallas Stars are not that team. They're not built like that. So if we see a lot of goal scoring and a lot of back and forth opportunities, breakaways, power plays, penalty kills, things like that, this series is going to very easily go to the Colorado Avalanche. But I think overall, in terms of the makeup of the team, the roster, the depth, and the way the team is built and how they've played together chemistry-wise, I'm still going to give it to the Dallas Stars. And that might surprise some people because I've been really, this is a series I'm really torn on. I really like both of these teams, but I'm sticking with my before the playoffs prediction. I said Dallas would win the Stanley Cup, and I stick to that. I think the Dallas Stars win this series in 7 games. It's going to take home ice, another Jake Ottinger performance in Game 7, and they're going to need some depth goal scoring throughout this series, but I ultimately think the Dallas Stars will get it done. I think the makeup of this team is built to be a Stanley Cup champion. And not to say Colorado isn't, because I think they definitely are capable of that. We saw what they did a couple years ago with Darcy Kemper. He went on a heater at the right place at the right time, and they found themselves winning a Stanley Cup. So I will never doubt the Colorado Avalanche, and probably the second best player in the National Hockey League in Nathan MacKinnon. You never know what's going to happen with him, right? So 7 games, Dallas Stars win this series, but this is going to be a great series. I'm really looking forward to it. All the festivities and everything, puck drop starts tonight in this series if you're watching this video tonight. If not, this is kind of a playback video and the series has already started. So kind of a quick turnaround for the Dallas Stars. Colorado's had a couple days off. We'll see if that has any factor, like we saw last night between the Bruins and the Panthers, if maybe the edge goes to the Dallas Stars because they have played the most recent hockey. That's going to do it for today, guys. Let me know your predictions down below. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. Peace out, guys.